Hey there! How much of Africa do you know in terms of geography, history, politics, economics, tourism, sports, and cuisine? How much of African music do you get to listen to or dance to? Who are those Africans who inspire you and make you dream to reach the apex? Find out more about the continent in African Fiesta. African Fiesta is a midweek magazine that brings African values to the platform and presents them to the rest of the world. African Fiesta is information, education, and entertainment. African Fiesta is every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 3 p.m. in Limbe, Cameroon, Lagos, Nigeria, and 3 p.m. in Lomé, Togo. African Fiesta, just on Apex One Radio. Join us for the feast.
And this is the 155th edition of the show, reaching you live from the United States of America. Lilian, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. We thank God. Now, Lilian, on July the 11th, you and some of your classmates at the University of Boya and other former students from the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication organized a virtual retirement party that was on Zoom in honor of George Ngwa. George was your lecturer and one of the pioneers of JMC. Now, the idea was yours. Tell us, what was the motivation?
Because first of all, I believe in celebrating people while they are alive.
Okay.
And when I heard he was retiring, the first thing that came to my mind was I need to organize a retirement party because I need to gather people and let's celebrate this man for all he has done, for the wonderful teacher he has been, the inspiring mentor he is. Mm-hmm. And that was what came to mind when a fellow alumni told me that George was retiring. I thought, okay, this has to happen. I have to do a retirement party. And I called him and I said, hey, I hear you're retiring, so we need to do a party. He was laughing. He didn't take me seriously, but I was serious. My plan was to go out to New York and organize with, however alumni could make it to New York, and let's just go and have some kind of gathering to celebrate him. But COVID happened and we couldn't make it, so we turned it into a virtual retirement party.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, Lilian, you are all spread around the world, and during this COVID period, it's really difficult for people to come together physically. Now, tell me, how did you mobilize your former classmates and students of George Ngwa for this virtual party?
I just that COVID came and it stopped us from gathering, but it made so many other things possible. It made it possible for us to gather virtually, which means we could invite anybody around the world. So it was still word of mouth and more of a snowball effect. So I started out reaching out to my classmates with whom I graduated, then the ones after me, and I said, reach out to your mates as well and invite as many as possible. Mm-hmm. And that is how I just got people engaged and involved. And then pretty soon we came together, I think 2 weeks or so before, we came together into a small group, and I was able to coordinate information sharing on that group and reach people that way as well.
What was the turnout and was it satisfactory?
The turnout was good. We had a cross-section of graduates that, the students that George had taught. From the first set of students he taught at the University of Boya to the last batch that he taught in 2001, I think. So we had a cross-section of graduates from that, those different cohorts represented, which was really, really nice. Continent-wide, we had people from North America, from Europe, from Africa, and it was just amazing. I mean, we had people from Austria, Switzerland, Gabon, South Africa, Senegal, Canada, USA, and that was just amazing, very beautiful. And he was really, really moved that so many people turned out. At some time, we had like 50 people on the call. But we also had planned, I had planned in advance for those who couldn't make it to record videos and send messages that we could play during the event for him to listen and to watch and to read and appreciate, so that even if you couldn't be there on that day, your message of appreciation and gratitude to him was communicated.
Right. Now, from their different aborts, we saw glasses raised and champagne popped. And this was not the only thing that happened. The content was said to be ingeniously crafted with a lot of surprises for this venerated lecturer who was being celebrated. Now, Lilian, could you just explain that concept and tell us how effectively it was exploited?
So, this was a virtual event. And when you're doing something like that, you want to encourage as much engagement as possible, so that it's not just one person talking at the time. So what I did was try to find things that will engage other participants in the party, so we actually feel like we're together and we're engaging and we're interacting. So I had a fun quiz that I put out and asked everybody who was on the call to participate, and the quiz was all questions related to the person we're celebrating, so about his career, his life, interests, and all those things. So it was fun for people to participate in, because everybody wanted to say, hey, I know this detail, about him or where he worked and all those things. And you could see the excitement in people trying to outdo each other or just having fun when they couldn't answer a question like, I need to phone a friend or call on their classmate to help. And then we also doing something fun for him, like come up with top 10 things he could do in retirement, and they were totally outrageous that made him laugh off his socks. But that was fun. And then a slideshow with messages from his former students. And then we also gave other people on the call opportunities to talk, and those who couldn't submit videos ahead, they were able to talk as well and send their messages and wishes to him. So it was really interactive, and lots of people enjoyed that.
So what was the lecturer's reaction, Lilian?
He was moved. He was happy and totally unexpected. He said he had never expected such a thing in life. People don't get to hear these things about themselves in life, right? Most of the time, we wait for people to die and then we come and say all these things at their funeral. But for you to be there, be present, and to listen to all those wonderful things that people have to say about you, which is how people actually feel about you. And to get the opportunity to hear that is something that very few people have the experience. I've had the opportunity to experience in life, and he was really touched by that. He was also pleasantly surprised to see so many of his past students that he hasn't seen in years, many years. He tried to keep in touch with as many as possible, but to just see them all on that day was really made him happy, and he expressed that in the thank you message that he did send out to everybody afterwards, that it meant a lot to him.
Lilian was amongst the first batch of students who got in JMC. That was in 1993. 27 years on, she comes back to celebrate one of the pioneer lecturers of that department. And it happened on July the 11th this year. She's live on radio to talk about that virtual party. And so, Lilian, this lecturer happens to have had a huge impact on the lives of his students, and everyone has been very positive about him. What made George so exceptional?
George is a very brilliant mind. He's also very calm and deliberate and in engaging people. He's very intelligent, and he's also very funny. And what makes him stand out, I think, with the other lecturer that we had, Ngwa Ndangam, is that they did not take themselves too seriously. And they tried to make each student feel, engaged and special. And they gave what they had with so many, the resources we had when we started that university was so small, but they did what they could. Using their personal libraries, their books, their magazine. George used to give us his magazines to read because he wanted us to expand our horizons and improve our writing.
Right.
They really, really went out of their way to make sure that we got what we could, despite the little resources that were around at that time. And it's very rare you see such hardworking, dedicated, committed teachers. And outside the classroom, he was very friendly to his students. We used to hang out, we'd have many sessions where we go out to eat, and he will share so many life lessons with us, through conversations and tell you, hey, this thing is not good, don't do this in your life, think about what path you're taking. And they showed us so many possibilities. You didn't just train to become a journalist, you could make it in other aspects of life if journalism or communications didn't work out. And I think many of the students who turned up for his retirement party shared that even though I'm not working as a journalist, I am using those skills he taught me because I am doing this. I learned this from you and I am doing this. So someone who has impacted so many lives just by who he is and being himself and just passing on his expertise, his experience to a huge number of people.
Right.
I think it was worth celebrating, yeah.
Now, Lilian, take us back to your personal experience with George on the Boya campus. What are some of the memorable moments you would love to recall, with him?
So, one of the moments that stand out is when we published the first edition of the Chariot newspaper, which was a student newspaper, which we started. It was the first of its kind. The university and I think the country itself was not used to having such a thing like a student newspaper, and nobody had any idea what to expect. And when we published this newspaper, the administration at the time was not happy, especially with some of the content, which we really didn't think much of it. The registrar at the time stormed into our department that time with George and Emma in it, with a little box, and he was furious. And George and Emma, in typical style, made humor out of it. Like, hey, why are you angry? Hey, it's a student newspaper. Why would you leave your big office to come to our tiny place? We don't even have air conditioning here. Why are you coming to come and squeeze in to discuss the newspaper? There's nothing to worry about. These are students. They need to practice journalism. And, they just made humor out of it.
Right.
And that is how they dissipated the whole thing. But it's typical George to make light out of something so serious. And to use that, his sense of humor and charm to calm things down, because he could have easily gone on another route. And then, just so many times when we're hanging out, he will share so many funny stories and tease and joke and just make us laugh the whole time. Even now, when you have conversations with him, he always has a funny thing that he throws at you, and you are laughing and laughing and laughing. He's an exceptional guy.
Now, Lilian, during your days in UB and even after you left, the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication was always considered as one of those departments that stood out. Now, tell me, what was in JMC that made everybody mad about it, and how do you feel to have been part of this success story of journalism education?
Well, I always wanted to study journalism, and before UB opened, I had actually traveled to Nigeria to try and study there. And while I was lingering around in Nigeria, I heard the university had been opened in English-speaking Cameroon, and I rushed back and I, got admission and I got in there. But that department really stood out, I think, many reasons, because of the staff that were there, the quality of the students that they sought. Also, they made a difference. It came at a time when Cameroon was going through so many changes in its media landscape, and those lecturers lobbied and fought hard for their students to be included in state media, to be included in state media and other journalism outfits in the country, because everybody always thought that if you're a journalist, you have to be trained at ASMAC in Yaoundé. And then here comes this university that offers training in public relations, in media research, in broadcasting, in news writing. So there was a lot of variety there, and graduates that were well-rounded, and they could excel in any of those fields if they chose to. So just the talents that came out of that university was good. And I think another thing somebody mentioned to me during the retirement party, which I had not thought about, was I was of the pioneer class, and the year, in my final year, I was fortunate enough, or I was hardworking and brilliant enough to get a scholarship from the British government and the Commonwealth. It was the first ever in Cameroon. Cameroon had just joined the Commonwealth and to launch a scholarship. So I won the scholarship to go study for a graduate degree in England. And this was a tiny department that had, stood all kinds of, tests at the time. And nobody really wanted that department at all. People didn't want it to succeed. And here comes this first scholarship that was launched in the country from the Commonwealth. And the first recipient in the country is somebody from that department. And it brought, this is what Josh said to me about the virtual party, that it brought a lot of limelight to the department. Suddenly everybody was interested in enrolling. They were like, wow, this department could do this. They could produce such exceptional, graduates. So that also helped, I think. I had not thought about it in that way, but he made me understand that helped to bring publicity and limelight to the department and attract more students to enroll, which is gratifying to know. I had not thought of it that way.
When the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication opened its doors in 1994, Lilian Ndangam was one of the first students who enrolled in that department. And today she is the pride of JMC. And she also took upon herself to organize the retirement party for George Ngwa, one of the lecturers who made JMC what it is and what it has always been. Lilian, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and congrats on that great initiative. But before we go away, Lilian, some people will be asking if you were only doing this for George, and there are other lecturers of GMC who have gone on retirement, and others would eventually go. So is this something that will happen again and again?
No, I this is the first retirement I'm hearing of, sincerely.
Okay.
I have heard of others. If I saw them here, I would love to participate or help organize one, if possible. We were able to do this and make it work because George was retired. He retired here in New York and could be able to join in on the Zoom call. So if somebody else is retiring and they're in Cameroon, I will hope that other alumni will get together and make something, a celebration for that staff, because they all deserve that kind of a celebration and appreciation for what they have done for so many people. I hope that will be done.
Lilian, it was
and I'd love to be part of
the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure talking to you too.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Hey there! How much of Africa do you know in terms of geography, history, politics, economics, tourism, sports, and cuisine? How much of African music do you get to listen to or dance to? Who are those Africans who inspire you and make you dream to reach the apex? Find out more about the continent in African Fiesta. African Fiesta is a midweek magazine that brings African values to the platform and presents them to the rest of the world. African Fiesta is information, education, and entertainment. African Fiesta is every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 3 p.m. in Limbe, Cameroon, Lagos, Nigeria, and 3 p.m. in Lomé, Togo. African Fiesta, just on Apex One Radio. Join us for the feast.